On Tuesday, a five-judge bench of the Supreme Court agreed to examine 14 important questions raised by President Droupadi Murmu. These questions come in response to an earlier court ruling that set timeliness for governors and president to act on state bills. The president has sought clarity on how much power the governor and president really have when a bill is passed by a state assembly. Among the key questions, she asked, "Certainly here are 14 constitutional questions raised by President Droupadi Murmu to the Supreme Court. First, before a bill becomes law, can courts examine its contents to step in at any stage before it's enacted? Second, is the governor bound to follow the advice of states' council ministers while deciding on a bill under Article 200 of the Constitution? Third, is the president bound to follow the advice of the union council ministers when a bill is reserved by the governor for the president's approval? Fourth, can a governor's of president's discretion under Article 200 and 201 can be challenged in court, that is, it justiciable? 5. In the absence of time limit in the Constitution, can be the court set deadlines for the governors or the presidents to act on bills? 6. Is Article 361, which protects the president and governors from court proceedings, absolute bar to any judicial review of the actions? Can the Supreme Court use Article 142 to issue orders that override or substitute constitutional powers of the president or governor? 8th, is the exercise of Article 142 powers by the Supreme Court limited to procedural matters, or can it apply to substantive law? 9th, can court impose timeliness on the presidents to act on bills without a constitutional provision for such timeliness? 10th, can courts impose timeliness on the governor without an explicit mention in the Constitution? 11th, is a law passed by a state legislature considered valid and in force without the governor's assent under Article 200? 12th, when a governor reserves a bill for the president's assent, does the president have the consult to Supreme Court? 13. Should the Supreme Court decide first whether such case involves a substantial question of constitutional interpretation and refer it to the Constitution bench of at least 5 judges? 14. Is Article 131 the only legal route through which disputes between union and state governments can be resolved by the Supreme Court? These questions go to heart of how bills become law, role of governors and presidents, and how far courts can intervene in the process.